Good morning. Let's get started. So it's a pretty crazy day for small caps. SPRB yesterday kicked off a bunch of small caps today. When you get a several thousand% mover like this, just yesterday this ran 1,600%. It's gapping up overnight. So just getting even more out of control. So it's, maybe up 3,600 at the peak over here in pre-market. Pretty incredible move. Is the top in on this? It is difficult to say because this can keep going. Get totally out of hand, even more out of hand than this. So not something I would want to trade. But pretty crazy how this ended up running in pre-market like this. Super, super strong, big move. And then, thank you. Sort of faking out the pre-market high level right around 10 o'clock. Then it looks like it's done after that. But it wasn't done. Came back up. Tried to squeeze early in the morning and couldn't do it. Ended up double topping. And then came down. Looks like it is going to fail here in the afternoon. Right after 12. 12:10 looks like it's done. And then it ends up just trapping shorts for about 45 minutes, half an hour right there. And reclaiming back up. Boom, causing a squeeze, halt. This stock was a halt fest all day. And then gapping out of this halt from $43 up to $60 on resumption. So, pretty wild move. And that's just the beginning of it. Did it again. Halting up at 66, up towards 104. 58% gap up out of that halt. And it just keeps going higher. Now, finally, we get a red candle in there. Looks like maybe it's done. And it's very choppy, very difficult to trade and do anything with this. I wouldn't touch this one. If anything, it's a buy on these trap reclaims. When it reclaims, like this is a super low float stock. Trading big volume, big rotation. And look at this volume coming in at the end of the day here, whenever this started to squeeze. I mean, you're getting 100,000 1 minute volume candles for a $35 stock on 500,000 float. So you're getting float rotation every 4 or 5 minutes. And that is what causes massive moves like this. And of course, they halt the stock to keep you safe. So that's what they say anyways. But you can't control your risk if you're stuck in a halt and then it gaps up 50% on you. Just kind of insane. Now we are gapping up. And it looks like it's done. It does look like it's done, but I still wouldn't touch it. Just not worth it. Not worth getting stuck in halts. Can't control your risk in that. So it's an interesting one to watch. It's just one to see how it plays out. Now, typically, this one did gap up, so probably we're going to see another one of these today, I would imagine. We kind of already had one, GLTO. So this one is going to go from around $3 up towards $36. So that's about 800% move. The following day is usually when you get one of these big movers like this. The following day you usually have another one, but it's not going to be as crazy. And SPRB did gap up, so it's likely that we get one today that runs quite a bit, but doesn't gap up overnight. So things should be getting really hot today, but also probably not as hot as it was, not as crazy as it was on SPRB. So a few things to watch here. In pre-market, obviously GLTO, too expensive to get borrows on that for me, so I can't touch this one. This is probably going to be a good fade, I would imagine here. TMQ, this one, the government's taking a 10% stake in the company. Now, we have seen this news recently, and it's been fake. So I got rid of this ticker, but there was one yesterday, and Reuters came out and said the government took a 10% stake in this company, and then the White House said, actually, no, we didn't say that. So that's got me wondering if this news is even real to begin with. TMQ, we do have the TOS news right here. Soars after Defense Department agrees to buy stake, 10% stake in the company. So the Defense Department, this is another one of those rare earth stocks. So interesting. The other one was in Greenland. This one, I'm not sure. Didn't look into it too much yet. Looks like Northwest Alaska. Includes copper, zinc, silver, other metals. That doesn't include the stuff we need for semiconductors. Certain semiconductors, I forgot what it was. But good one to keep an eye on. Kind of a mid cap stock. All right, ZNB. Big mover. Again, one of these big runners in pre-market. Getting kicked up. 400% move in pre-market. Hopefully this one is done and ready to come back down. We are shorting this one. Strategic partnership with somebody to advance Bitcoin-centric finance. Obviously, Bitcoin is hot. Any Bitcoin-related news is going to be getting some interest. And also, off the back of the SPRB move yesterday, we're going to be seeing a lot of stuff like this happening. And these cheap garbage companies will use this, take advantage of this to pump their stock up and maybe do something sketchy, some kind of dilution, maybe dump some warrants, maybe do some offerings. We might see some offerings. Fingers crossed on that. ULY, we have another one. Going to see a bunch of these. So ULY, this one just kicked up. Partners with Sony Honda Mobility of America to deliver nationwide roadside assistance. Nationwide coverage across all 50 states and District of Columbia. Another small cap, low float stock. Probably just taking advantage of this momentum. These companies tend to have some press releases lined up for pumps. And it's awfully convenient that when things get hot, we start seeing a lot of press releases come out. So let's see, ULY, we'll add that one to the watch list. COCH. COCH, another one probably done. Fingers crossed. Let's see. The news on this one receives FDA approval to expand its clinical trial for fully blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. So they get to do a trial, the FDA approval. So that's good news. They still have to do the trial and pass the trial and all that. Also, this one has some warrants at around $1.30. Decent amount of warrants to offload into the stock, which has not pumped since those warrants have been available. So they're most likely going to be selling into this move today. CISS. We have a much smaller move here. This one's only ran 100%. No news on this one. This one's kind of interesting because of the breakout level. So you can see that it pushed perfectly into that breakout level before pulling back. Now maybe it's going to ramp back up and actually break out. Totally possible. That was an expensive borrow. Interesting. PCSA, this is a sub-dollar cheapie. Don't see news on this. Pushing up into some levels here. Probably not touching that one. Okay. We have some swings on that are doing pretty well. PayPal up to 74.50 in pre-market now. So we have a swing on this one from, what do I have? PayPal. Yeah, so I've got 69.70 average on PayPal right now. So we're doing pretty good on that one. Want to see it hold up. We're up 7%. But the play is we want a big move up towards $100. We pull up the blueprint. This one's not the best, but similar. It's hard to find this sort of move, but this is the idea. This would give an idea of where it possibly could go. I wouldn't expect it to go this much, but definitely we should be seeing 80, 90, 100 by December. I would imagine that seems super possible. Who knows? Maybe Trump will buy it. Trump's buying every stock lately, so buying all kinds of stuff. BMNR. Kind of a more speculative one, but it is crypto related. And it is breaking trend right now. There's a nice wedge that's been forming since August. It's got very much has Bitcoin vibes or GameStop vibes. So similar action, very similar pattern, and the stock is a pretty fresh chart. I believe it was a SPAC. Maybe it was a SPAC. But basically nothing happening until this happened back in June. And then it's been holding higher lows, wedging really nicely. And it has broken the top of that wedge today. So I ended up buying, what do I have? 56 something. 56, 57. Just buying consolidation. See the wedge, you know. Looking for some kind of crazy move to happen. And the blueprint says it could go to 280, but I wouldn't expect that to happen. That would be really insane. I would expect maybe $100 possible, 120, something like that. But we'll see where it lands. These kind of moves are difficult to predict, but we could always put a trend line on it, maybe use a moving average trailing to figure out where to sell. So pretty excited about this one. Let me see here. RR. This is just another super interesting one. No position in this one. Unfortunately, I should be in it. But it's this very similar pattern, very similar setup. And the blueprint is just a guide. It's not saying it's going to get that crazy. I'm not saying that, but let me get this positioned here better. But it's an interesting guide, and it kind of gives a timeline of how long things could take to play out. Same setup as BMNR. Pretty clearly. So similar setup, a lot of potential. It's already gone crazy, so who knows how high this can actually go. I'm not claiming to know that, but it's a pretty clear pattern there. So that's the key for a lot of these. You want to see a nice big move holding up on a base like this, higher lows, and then breakout, maybe breakout pullback, something like that. See RR is right here at 660s. And Potentially could go on into the 15s, 14, 15 area. It's just something that it's hard to foresee that coming, but the stock is overvalued. So it's drawing in a bunch of short sellers, and squeezes can be totally irrational. And hard to judge the top on these. But this could be going to 15 bucks potentially. Hard to say, but man, that is already a massive move. Sort of testing the breakout level right here, pulled back off the breakout, and then ramped through the breakout right there. Super impressive move. UNH. I'm hoping UNH has another leg up in it to get it above 400 bucks, and I'll be really happy with that. GameStop, unfortunately, seems to be near the end of the road here. I was calling the sell out right here in the 27, 28 area. So potentially it holds a dip and goes again. It could do that. It could definitely do that. But it's sort of needing something. It needs some news. It needs some real fundamentals to kick in and give some hope. There's a lot of dilution going to be coming in at $32 a share with these warrants that I believe the warrants are going to be active on the 8th. Morning, Scotty. So I think on the 8th, those $32 warrants kick in. So shareholders are going to get those warrants. And then it's going to need something explosive to happen to get out of that $32 range, because as it does extend from 32, those warrant holders are going to want to sell those warrants because you can convert them at 32 bucks a share, and that's going to be free profit. So the higher it goes above 32, the more likely it is to come back to 32. And that also adds dilution to the stock. So it's going to blow up that share count. So really, the company is not incentivized at all to have this go above 32 for an entire year. Those warrants do expire in a year. So if it never goes above 32, then everybody's warrants expire. And if it does go above 32, then that means they're going to be converting those warrants to shares and then selling them, just diluting the stock down to try to get something out of those warrants. And so that's going to just really make it stick to 32 pretty heavily. And the company, I'm sure, doesn't want to dilute their stock. So I don't know. The playbook from last time is something like this. We have the blueprint on. And last time around, it had these crazy moves in the beginning, and then it had lower high, maybe some double topping going on, mostly lower highs until finally breaking down. And then the cat comes back in somewhere over here several years later to make another $1 billion on another GameStop pump. So that's when we'll be back in GameStop, probably. All right, that's good enough for now. 30 seconds to the bell. So our PayPal swing's looking great. PayPal is popping really nicely in the 74s. All right, gonna focus up here, see what we can do. SPRB multi-1,000% runner yesterday is really kicking some things off in small caps. Tesla's unveiling something today. Of course, it's going to go down on that news. So far, at least. Tesla anticipated to announce lower cost Model Y version. Tuesday. So sometime today they're going to announce that. That would be interesting to know. It's usually sell the news, so never really know for sure here, but my Tesla blueprint is saying pull back into 360 is imminent. By October, November. Just a guess. I do have a small short on Tesla trying this idea out, so we have a swing short on. Ultimately, Tesla goes up, but for now, I mean, it's got to chop around, and stocks don't go in straight lines. But we'll see if this idea holds up. All eyes are on GLTO. This is trying to be the next SPRB. Kind of is, but yeah. It's up huge already. Yeah, so SPRB was up 300% in pre-market, and then it kept going after that. Yeah, when Tesla announces their car today, it's probably going to be sell the news. It just seems to be always sell the news. Huge news today, so and it could send the stock too. I don't know. Just seems to be always sell the news though, at least in short term. Let's peep it. Let's see. So far it's a fake out strat. Long setup. All right, we'll give it a try. Fake out strat. to the long side. Keep it simple. Faked out the low. Pre-market low level. It's going to close above the 9 moving average. Hopefully we get continuation. Big rip here. No idea when they're going to do the reveal. But until they do, it's not sell the news. Got a risk down here so we don't get wicked out. Just for the day trade. Covered some ZNB. Tesla did gap down, so it wants to try to fill the gap. Maybe you can do it. Hoping Tesla pops into this 453 area. All right, the swing accounts at hitting new highs this morning. Mainly from PayPal, BMNR. All right, here's Tesla popping up. Hopefully it keeps popping up. Might be all it has in it. Hasn't filled the gap though. CISS is ripping right now. Nice. That might be SPRB 2.0. Wannabe. GLTO as well. Everybody's looking for the second one on day 2. Tesla's holding up. Come on. A little bit more. Okay, here we go. Maybe. Let's see it. I know everyone's wondering about this news they're going to drop today. So it looks like CISS is the one, trying to be SPRB 2.0. And of course, GLTO still hanging out. It's trying to come down, but this is how it goes. Looks done until it doesn't. So one of these is going to be SPRB 2.0. Which, let's take a look at that one. So it had a really nice gap up. %150 at 4 a.m. And it's possibly done. These things are totally wild, though, and unpredictable. But it's interesting to see when the music stops. Whenever this one comes down, whenever GLTO comes down, and CISS comes down, then pretty much the music is over. There's always a chance another one pops up, but unlikely. And then tomorrow should be amazing gap and craps all day fades. Hopefully, fingers crossed for the short selling. All right, we sold some Tesla. Half out. We got a wicked right into my orders. Hopefully it's got some more steam. It's trying to fill the gap. See, it wants to go up to 453. Got pretty dang close. 452.80. BJDX trying to squeeze. No position. There's a pretty clear breakout level right here at 250. So it's pushing over that a little bit. Maybe this one wants to be the next SPRB. All right, I'm going to call it on Tesla. I think maybe that's good enough. I don't like how it's rejecting now. I don't really want to cut it if I don't have to. Yeah, we'll hang on to it. I don't want to cut just because I want it to go quicker. I'll have half left on. But if this MACD turns red, I got to cut. That's the rule. Again, only half left, so not a big deal. All right, CISS failing. BJDX failing. GLTO still hanging out. Ooh, Tilray kind of alive still. Kind of holding up. I don't mind this, actually. Maybe for a re-entry. It just kind of faked out the low right here. Maybe double bottom. Broke trend. Possible re-entry. Only 5% risk. Could be a fake out, but you never know. I think we'll go back in on some Tilray. Pretty tight stop. Swing trade. All right, good to go on that. Pretty much just 5% risk is pretty tight stop on that. So and maybe more like 8. Maybe more like 8. All right, 164 average. We'll see if we can get a pop. I'm anticipating some. Trump is getting his fingers into every pie lately, so he already pumped weed once. Is there legalization news coming out? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. But why is Trump tweeting about CBD? Very strange. We'll see. We'll give it a try. It's the same exact setup we hit on this stock over and over again. So we've done pretty well on it. We haven't been wrong yet. Eventually we'll probably be wrong, but we'll see. Nike coming down a little bit. CASS coming back up. That looks a little scary. No position on that. GLTO. All eyes are on GLTO right now. Looks like it's done, but that's the trap. I don't know. This is just probably not worth trying this one. Short. Let's check in with Tesla. It's kind of taking its time here. All right, I think I'll call Tesla second half of the trade here. Good enough. All right, I think that's going to be it for me right now. I have a couple shorts on. Hopefully these come on down. So far they're going well. I think we dodged the main squeezers. So we'll see how we do. Got to give these some time to play out. Small win on Tesla, not bad. Swings are looking really good. But all right, let's put some updates out in Discord later. Good luck, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow.